Today, in this episode, I'm going to teach you how to get out of your own way on the cricket field. I'm going to teach you how to let your natural instincts take over, what you should be thinking, how to do that, and everything in between when it comes to mental skills and making you a mentally stronger cricketer. I think we've all been there as a cricketer where we know exactly what we want to do. We want to execute this ball. We want to execute this shot. And we're thinking, oh, come on, let's do it. And then you crumble, you fail, and you don't quite execute what you want to do. You know what to do, but you don't know how to do it. Or you've done it before, but you can't find that skill when you need it most in the middle. And this happens for everyone. We've all known the player. You might even be the person yourself who can execute their skills at training. They can dominate at training. But get out into the middle and you either freeze, the self-doubt creeps into your mind, or you just don't even have access to the skills on the field that you do in the nets. Isn't that such a weird thing? You literally can do that thing in some environments, but not do that thing in other environments. So bizarre. You can execute that Yorker in the nets. You can bowl top of off on repeat for a net session. You can let it go quick. Ball can be pissing through. Batters, fielders catch balls all the time at training, then get out into the middle and they drop sitters. It's absolutely fascinating. And it's something that I'm extremely passionate about because, look, if I listened to this podcast back when I was 15, 16, I'm not saying I would have made it. Absolutely not, because my skills just not there, but I would have been a whole lot better cricketer. I would have performed a lot better. I would have gotten more out of myself, which is all you can ask for. Like, one thing we're going to talk about today is detracting yourself from the result and the outcome and just the process. And the process for you should always just be just get the most out of yourself and get the most out of every single second that you have. And then things will just take care of themselves. It's really important to think about that performance isn't just what you can control. I read Shane Watson's book, The Winner's Mindset. Absolutely great book. And talks about performance equals A factors plus B factors, plus your mindset, and that's performance. And it's so true. So the A factors are the things that are in your control. These are things like your training, your sleep, nutrition, all that sort of thing. So we can control this, our skill set that we bring. Our B factors are things outside of our control. Performances of other players, the conditions, umpires, team selection, when we bat in the order, when we bowl, what field the captain sets, etc. Out of our control. And then times mindset is going into it with the right mindset is the key to unlock the skills that you have. It's super, super important to understand this because we often think that we can control everything. We can control the outcome. But it's super important to realize that you cannot control the results. You cannot control the outcome at all. Because, as I said, there are things outside your control that go into performance. And that is absolutely crucial to realize. Now, I want to introduce you to a topic. It's called the player A versus player B topic. Or in the book, The Inner Game of Tennis, which I'm reading at the moment, by Timothy Gallwey. Self 1, Self 2. And you might be thinking, what on earth is this? Essentially, we're going to introduce you to the fact that you have two brains. You have two conscious levels. You have the conscious brain and the subconscious brain. Player A is your conscious brain. This is the thinker, the judger, the one that controls the inner chatter in your mind. I think we've all been there, where we've bowled a bad ball or played a bad shot and we're thinking, come on, mate, come on, what are you doing? You're better than that. That there is your conscious brain. Your conscious brain is also you telling yourself, all right, get your head to the ball, get your front arm up. When you're thinking about doing something, that is your player A, that is your conscious brain. Now, player A is always talking to player B. Think of it like you're on a walkie-talkie, or think of it like you're on a headset. You're always talking to player B. And player B, your subconscious mind, always listens and never forgets. It always listens and never forgets. So your subconscious brain is your instinctive performer. It's the doer. It's the things that just happen without thinking. Which player do you feel like that you need to have access to when you're at your best? Now, if we think about performances and performance, on the cricket field, think back to your best performances. People always talk about being in this flow state, being like they're just reacting, they're not thinking. This is your subconscious brain. This is player B taking over. However, when we're thinking and overthinking, we have this mind chatter and we're talking to ourselves, telling us that we're shit, or we're telling us to think about technique out in the middle. We're telling player B this, and we're trying to play the game with player A, and it doesn't work because player A slows down our reactions, it slows down our movements, and you're not trusting your training, you're not trusting your skill sets. The goal of any mental skills training is to quieten player A down so player B can just take over. Another thing too that Shane Watson talks about is the iceberg metaphor. That your conscious brain is the tip of the iceberg. It's the thing that you see, things that you hear. It is your thought process. But there's so much beneath the water that you don't see. It's everything that your player A has told player B over the years. Your subconscious mind has a massive base. It's quiet, it doesn't talk, but it's extremely powerful. This is where everything is stored. All your experiences, all the skills and techniques that you've refined, your natural instincts are here. Now, it's really important to realize that you have complete control over player A. I was literally having a chat to somebody in the gym yesterday, one of my clients, and he was talking about that, I really just enjoy bowling, by myself, because when I bowl by myself, I can just focus on what I need to focus on. I don't feel any pressure. I feel like everything's so much more clearer. But sometimes when I bowl on the nets or I'm bowling to a selector, I start thinking, I need to bowl really good here. I need to impress him, bowl fast, and he ends up bowling really, really bad. And I've gone to explain to him that no, that doesn't have to be the case, because you have complete control over your conscious brain. You have complete control over your thought processes. You have complete control over how you talk to yourself and your mind chatter. It's extremely important to realize you have complete control. You get to choose what you think about. And what's good to know from a psychology point of view is you can only think about one thing properly at a time. So we can quickly, move between different thoughts, but we can only think about one thing at a time. Now that we know this, and we know that we get these negative thoughts that come in, that's okay. It's important to accept the fact that negative thoughts come in. That's so normal. But it's what we do with them is the main thing. Now, you don't want to think about not doing a bad thing. So you don't want to think about not bowling a wide. Because by not bowling a wide, what are you thinking about? Bowling a wide. What you need to do is to put something else in your brain, and we'll get to that later on what you should be putting into your brain at the right times. But I just want to get that out of the way really, really early. You can only think of one thing at a time, and you have complete control over your conscious brain. Now, it's really important for you that you focus on getting out of your own way. You can't think yourself to high performance. Out in the middle, you can't be thinking about technique. You can't be thinking about what to do. You need to get out of your own way and allow your subconscious mind to trust your instincts, to play on instinct, to react, to trust your gut. As you know, your best performances come when you're not thinking. You're just letting it happen. You're not forcing anything. Your bad performances come when you're overthinking. When you're thinking way too much about what you should be doing or you think you should be doing, and you're making judgments. Another thing in the Inner Game of Tennis book is he talks about removing judgments from what you're doing. Remove judgments from your skill. There is no need to create narrative on what happened. This, once again, is poor mind chatter. You're sending a bad message to your subconscious brain, which it doesn't need. It never forgets. What I mean by that is when you play a shot, let's say you used to call this a bad shot. You'd play and miss outside your stump. Instead of going to yourself, oh, fuck, Jason, that's such a shit shot. Just observe the shot for what it is, for what happened, and then move on. So instead of going, oh, that was a shit shot, I need to get my head more to the ball. Say my weight was a little bit back. I didn't quite get my weight was back. My front foot was in line with off stump. The ball was really, really wide. I swung and I played and missed. Have that more objective view than, oh, what a shit shot. I need to get my head foot over the ball more. I need to get my foot outside off stump. Don't tell your subconscious brain what it needs to do. Just observe what happened. Observe the fact that your foot just went to off stump. That your head weight was behind your front leg. It wasn't over it. Just observe what happened. Don't label it. Don't tell your subconscious brain what to do. If you bowl a ball and it is driven for 4 through the covers, just observe the fact what happened. Say you bowled a ball that was full outside off stump. That's all we need to say. You don't need to go, oh, fuck, Jason's the worst player. That's such a bad ball. You need to pull your length back and pull it in a little bit tighter. Now, you might think, oh, if I don't think about it, if I don't think it and tell myself what I need to do, then how am I going to adjust? Just let your instincts take over. You know deep down through your experiences, through your subconscious brain, what a good ball looks like or what a good shot looks like. You know what your best cover drive feels like and what it is. So trust the natural learning process of the human body. We're great learners, and allow the subconscious brain just to take over and learn. You don't need to tell yourself what to do. You already know how to do it, and the reason why you're not doing it is because you're telling yourself what to do. Reflect and analyze each ball, but don't create any narrative. Just focus on what happened, be conscious of what happened, but nothing else. No instruction, no labeling. Use that as a trigger. If you catch yourself labeling a shot, if you catch yourself telling yourself what you need to do, then that is a trigger for you to go back on what you need to focus on. It is as simple as that. Now, that can be your mental routine. That can be your anchor, your reset strategy. Whenever you see yourself in that situation and you catch yourself with those thoughts, that's an opportunity to reset, go back to your routines. Now, I'm going to introduce you to something called A game versus B game. Now, your A game, and these are things that Shane Watson talks about in his book here, is what you do at your best. And typically, what people do at their best, we've broken down into these categories here. Attributes of this. Think about it is if there's a camera on you, this magic camera watching you, the whole time, it could observe you, it could know what you're feeling and thinking. What would it say about you at your best? This is your A game, when you're at your best. Most of the time, it's a word to do with calm. You're calm, relaxed, loose, at peace, detached from the result, something like that. You're pretty neutral. Next, it's usually something to do with being focused. You're in here and now, single-minded, in your bubble, you're tuned in, you're locked in, you're present, something like that. Whatever it is, they all mean the same thing. Usually you're confident. Some people might play best when they're even a little bit arrogant, bulletproof, powerful, they're walking tall, they're dominant, positive, self-assured, their chest is out. Things like this. Next, some sort of energy. You're either pumped up, passionate, revved up, motivated, something like that. Usually, you're playing your best cricket when it's more on the aggressive side. You are intense, unstoppable, hungry for runs. You're playing on the edge. You're assertive. Things like that. You're fearless. Usually, it's smooth as well. Rhythm, flow, fluid, effortless. Usually, it's something to do with anticipation. Usually you're adaptable, you're reactive. And then typically you're also in control. You're in command, you're measured. You are precise, poised. Words like this come to mind. Now, a nice little thing to do is what Shane Watson says to do here, is to spend 20 minutes writing down every word that comes to your mind when you're at your best. And typically, they'll fall under those categories there. Write these down and then choose 5 or 6 words that you are at your best. And these are the words that you go back to when you're under pressure, when you are facing adversity, when you have these negative thoughts come in. You catch them and go, no. Calm, confident, dominant, aggressive, whatever word that you feel like you need to go to get yourself back, focusing on that, that's the key. Because when you're focusing on a feeling, that's going into your subconscious brain. That's going back into player B that you want to be in. Your A game brings you back to your subconscious brain. Focus on a feeling, not a technique, not a thought, things like that. We should be 90% in the B game. 90% in player B. 90% in your self-conscious brain reacting, and then 10% focusing on the scenario of the game so you know how to win on the uncontrollables. It's 90% on the feeling, 10% on understanding the scenarios themselves. Super, super important here. All this stuff is golden. All this stuff is golden. Use your negative moments as an opportunity to reset. Don't use it as an opportunity to keep digging a mental hole for yourself. That's something that Watto talks about too in this book is we talk about digging a mental hole for yourself. And we've all been there. You bowl a bad ball. Fuck, you're so shit. Oh, what are you doing? That is your mental cue to put the shovel down, stop digging a hole, and reset. Now, it's really, really easy to get in this negative mindset. We're geared to it as human beings. To understand this, like back in the day, we had the same biology and neurochemistry as when we're cavemen. We're detecting things that can kill us. We're detecting threats because we're at danger. You are not at danger for your life by bowling a bad ball or a bad over. Now, we think we get this anxiety and that because of our expectations we put ourselves and all that sort of things, but we're not. It's important to understand this concept as well. It's called red brain versus blue brain. Red brain is emotional, fixed on outcomes. It's reactive to situations. Something happens, oh shit, fuck, all that sort of stuff. That's our red brain. Blue brain is calm, logical, and present. Obviously, we're going to be playing better in our blue brain. So this is something you can think of as well. We can feel ourselves going into red brain. I went in the red brain all the time. People play cricket with me who would hear me talking about this stuff would be like, what the fuck? Coxie was fiery. He'd lose the plot. And I'm like, oh, I look back at Jesus. I wish I knew this stuff. Red brain versus blue brain. Use your negatives as an opportunity to reset and bring you back to those 5 or 6 feelings that you do at your best. Confident, calm, relaxed, in control. Focus on that and let the subconscious brain take over. One thing that's important too is that your brain is a muscle as well. So the more you do this stuff, the better you become at it. That's the beauty of it. The more you do it, the better it becomes at it. So just like your muscles that we train in the gym, you can get better at this stuff over and over and over again. And so if you start executing this stuff in everyday life as well, there's no reason why you can't be working on these things, at work, at school, relationships, etc. Red brain, blue brain, subconscious, conscious brain. Start to think about these things actively. Take note. Be present of what's in your mind. As I've mentioned before, we're pretty switched on humans. Like we know, like our brain does a bloody good job, and it solves problems. It's the best problem solving thing on the whole planet. So, but often we just need to get out of our own way. Just need to get out of your own way. Now, this can happen when you're at work. How often have we just I sat here trying to think of things. But when you get in a flow state, you're not thinking about, okay, I need to think of something creative. You just think of something creative. It just happens. So think about ways of getting yourself back into this state of flow. And that's by getting out of your own way. Catch your thoughts. Catch your feelings. You need to stop thinking. You need to put yourself into a state of subconsciousness. As mentioned before, your brain is a muscle. It also means it can fatigue. Now, if you're going into games mentally drained already, that's going to impair how much output you can put onto the field. Things like overthinking, mind chatter, doom scrolling on your phone, playing PlayStation games, fear of failure, these things can drain your brain. So you might want to stick away from that. Things that can recharge your brain. Things like watching a movie without your phone, watching a good TV show without your phone, a deep conversation with a friend, having a nap, music, other hobbies, etc. Things that take your mind away from things where you're just in the moment, flow state, whatever it is. That is what you need to be doing the night before a game to mentally prepare as well. And it can be tough before big games, etc. But just because it's tough doesn't mean it's not worth doing. You will go into a game so much fresher if you think about your brain as a muscle and you don't want to fatigue it. The same way you won't do a crazy, intense workout. You might do a primer session before a game. Why would you do a crazy, intense, brain-draining activity before a game? Why would you do that to yourself? And I think it comes down to education, all this stuff. Now you know, we've got two sides of the brain. We've got one that's a thinker, an overthinker. Then we have one that's more subconscious and reactive. Player A versus player B, conscious brain versus subconscious brain. We want to get out of our own way. Stop thinking, focus on more feelings. That's why with coaching, we more coach the feeling of something. Coach the feeling of snapping through your action rather than getting you to think, okay, I need you to brace your front leg, or then need you to delay your front arm, or then need you to wait, then pull your chest forward now. Too much to think about. We can't sequence that. We can't think about that at all. When Virat Kohli, Steve Smith, Joe Root are batting, they're not watching a ball come down. They're not thinking, all right, front foot towards the ball. Yep, hands come through, bang. What are they doing? They're looking at the ball so intensely. It's almost like meditation. They're not thinking about anything else except watching that bloody ball, and then they react. That is what it is. Whereas watching the seams of the ball that bloody hard, that you can only think about that, you can't think about anything else that's going on. Because you need to trust your training. Get confidence. Don't get confidence from your performances. Get confidence from your training. Go into every game confident from the work that you've put in throughout the week. Now, if you've gone to the gym, even better, if you have the confidence to know that you're following a gym program that is specific to you, your body, and cricket. If you know that your nutrition is on pattern, down pattern, specific to you. If you've talked to a coach around the mental skills and you've reflected the last game properly and you've really nailed this training because it's really specific to this week. And you know that you've done the right fitness and running work in the pre-seasons to build your body up. You've done the right amount of sprinting, all that sort of stuff, which is the things that I do for all of my clients. If you are interested, do have a link down below for my coaching. I know my clients have the confidence from that because we've set everything up specific to them, what they need, and they've put the work in. So if you take confidence from your training and not from the outcome of results, you're going to go into every single game confident if you put the right amount of work in. So there you have it. A nice little chat on performance mindset and understanding yourself. I think the big key takeaways here is, number one, you are in control of every single conscious thought that you have, the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you think. And to prove that to you, I want you to think about a red car right now. Okay. Yep. And I want you to say, I love red cars in my head 3 times. Random, but you can do that. You can control your mind chatter right now. That's number one. That mind chatter is your conscious brain. That's player A. It's always talking to player B. In the game, we want player B. We want that subconscious brain to take over. So, which is why you need to think about your A game, things that you bring at your best: confident, focused, smooth, calm, aggressive, reactive, something along those lines. Write them down and bring yourself back to those words when you feel yourself on the ground, having those doubts, having those negative thoughts. Use them as an opportunity to reset. Use them as an opportunity to show mental toughness and to focus on the things that you need to focus on despite the noise. That's the key. Mental toughness is the key to focus on everything. Focus on what you need to focus on despite the noise, despite everything else. Trust your gut. Trust your instincts. And I'll leave you with this one. When has worrying about the result made the result change? When is you worried about team selection made the team selection change? Focus on the things you can control. Work on becoming mentally stronger and getting yourself out of your own way. And if you are interested in joining my coaching to get specific help with this, alongside your gym, nutrition, running, technical work, drills, everything, then I do have links down below to join my coaching. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you guys next week. And that's a wrap for today's show. Thanks for watching, guys. I know you haven't subscribed yet, so please make sure you do right now. leave a review and let me know any feedback or any questions that you have from this previous episode. If you are interested in becoming the best cricketer that you've ever been and getting coaching from me, I have all my links down below in the description for either my in-person based in Melbourne or my online coaching where you can be anywhere around the world. Thanks guys, feel free to share with a friend, and thanks for tuning in. Win the day.